Yo, yo, yo! What's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
I'm ready to get high. But I'm well.
We're going to get high.
Good.
Hey, everybody out there in the world. Hope you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. We are about to smoke because Mrs. Weedman wants to get high.
Isn't that funny? Like how many, like when I started on the show, the thought of saying the word high. Oh, gosh, high? Why do you have to say high? High?
You
like,
talked about that, too, in an
like
episode.
You're a drug
or two.
addict. You have to be high. And now I say it all the time because it really is just the perfect word.
I want to be high.
I want to be high.
I want to be high.
Not in like a Blazing Saddles, don't know who I am high. Just in a...
You just want to be feel good high.
Yeah.
There you go. So light that up.
Okay.
We are smoking pineapple diesel that I was given to me, and I smoked some on Sunday too. But this is pineapple diesel, and this is an 80-20 sativa indica. 80% sativa, 20% indica. And this is about, with all the cannabinoids in this that I was reading on what this person gave me, there is THC, THCA, THCV, and don't forget THCV helps with appetite suppressant, and then CBG. I'm very excited about that. And total cannabinoids is 33%. And total terpenes is 2.25%. Humulene, Nerol 2, Carafoline, Myrcene, which is my fave, and that's 2.25% of terpenes in here. Really good, like a little bit of everything. It's kind of nice. So, pineapple diesel is a sativa-dominant hybrid created through crossing powerful pineapple and sour diesel strains. If you're on the hunt for a super energizing and clear-headed high to help you get up and moving on a lazy or slow-moving morning, pineapple diesel is perfect choice for you. The high starts almost soon as you exhale, slamming into the brain in a sense of high energy and giddy euphoria. You'll find your brain instantly cleared of any negative or racing thoughts.
Woo!
Ooh, I love it. Replaced with clear-headed focus and motivation that helps get you moving on a creative task at hand. You also find a substantial boost in chattiness. All right.
Oh, boy.
Which is great for social situations. In combination with this high, like I said, 33% average, these effects make pineapple diesel a great choice. The average, though, on this pineapple diesel you find is between 17% and 27%. But because of all the different terpenes in the one we're smoking, brings it up to 33%, which is great because they have two terpenes I really like, THCV and CBG. Pineapple diesel is a great choice for treating conditions such as chronic fatigue, depression, headaches, migraines, and chronic stress. The bud has a sweet and sour tropical pineapple flavor with hints of zesty diesel too. The aroma of sour citrus diesel with the heavily tropical pineapple overtone intensifies the more that you toke. Pineapple diesel buds have oversized spade-shaped minty green nugs with dark olive green leaves, deep orange hairs, frosty tiny white crystal trichomes. And this is for effects: cerebral, energizing, euphoria, focus, happy, motivation, uplifting. It helps relieve depression, fatigue, headaches, migraines, and stress. Flavors are citrus, diesel, pineapple, sour, spicy, and tropical. I could smell the pungentness and the gas coming from that joint. And we are smoking a joint. And it's got a fruity, pineapple, pungent, sour, spicy, and tropical. Mrs. Weedman, what do you think?
I probably smoked too much, but I was enjoying it. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how well I can focus on the show.
Can you pass it over?
Maybe. Here you go.
You like it a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I just love a joint.
Well, I hit this. Mrs. Weedman's going to say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's been kind of a quiet week. Midwest has been mild this winter, but we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. And we can't wait because we want the dog to go play.
Yuki.
I want her to, like, pounce in a pile of snow. And I think that she's going to love it. So I didn't know this, but there's heat-seeking dogs and cold-seeking dogs. Never thought about that. She's a cold-seeking dog. She loves
cold.
Like 30 degrees out, and she wants her head out the window of the car, and she just soaks up the fresh air. So it'll be really fun to see her. Hopefully tomorrow we get enough snow on the ground that she can play around in it. That'll be cool. This is a good joint.
Yeah, it's nice. Nicely rolled, tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a really nice taste.
I think I should wait. I want to have more.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You hit it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, more.
More. It's got also trying to catch the flavor. I don't taste the pineapple in it, but I do taste the fruity.
I thought I tasted berry in the beginning, but my taste buds are bad.
I think
today.
I taste diesel gasoline.
Gassy.
Yeah, very gassy. Very gassy on the back end of the tongue right now.
I'll have a little more.
You crazy
There's
girl.
concentrate in there?
There is, yes, there is a little bit of concentrate in there also.
Okay.
So crazy, you're gonna be high. You better slow down there, lady.
Slow your roll.
Slow it down a little bit. It's a long
right.
show. We're watching a couple shows. We watched actually a movie.
Oh my gosh! Don't. We shouldn't even tell you the name. That was the worst movie. I was traumatized by that movie. I felt like a little kid. I was afraid to go to bed.
It was
Eaters.
No, that's what they did. The name of the movie though was, hold on, I'm looking it up. Bones and All. And who was in this movie? It was
I don't even
Taylor
know.
Russell and Timothy C.
I think it was all new actors. I don't think there was anyone familiar.
Sully was creepy as fuck.
Oh yeah.
It's never dully with Sully.
Storyline is that this young girl I forgot. This young girl realized that she liked human blood.
It's not that she liked it. Her body
needed it.
Needed
she was
it
a vampire.
No, but she wasn't.
But they weren't. What
They
were
weren't. They called themselves
just
eaters.
And an eater, she had never known that she wasn't. That there were others, right? Until she left her little town, and
people smelled her, and
would
she
smell
smelled
her,
other
and then they
people.
would say something,
Right?
And so she knew that they were also eaters, and then it was like, whoa, you're an eater.
But it was
too?
also crazy because it was kind of a love story. Because
It
you
was
fell
just-
in love
it
with.
was awful.
Yes, it was awful. It was a bad movie.
Yeah,
It was kind of.
It was
weird.
kind of a C movie.
Yes,
right.
yes. I would say no B.
It
B.
wasn't low budget.
I wouldn't say
it
it was
was-
high budget.
Bad story.
It's just.
But it was just disgusting.
It was a love story that people ate each other.
Oh my god! not like that. Like, cut your heart out, ate each other.
Oh, it was creepy. It was weird. I would not suggest watching it. You actually picked that movie out.
I didn't think it was going to be like that. We should have just turned it off.
It was bad.
Don't watch it.
No, the other show we're watching on Netflix now is Kaleidoscope,
Yes, interesting.
and it's about a safe robbery, and it's really good.
Like
it
a
captures you.
grand theft.
Yes.
Like of the fanciest, most sophisticated
Safe.
security system
Yeah.
and safe in the world by leaps and bounds. And they
Figured it
put
out.
a team together to break into the safe
Yes.
in like minutes.
We're on
and rob
episode.
it.
I think we just got done watching episode Pink because it goes in colors.
Yeah, there are colors, and then
You
the
can
color
watch it.
signifies a time,
Line in the show.
a moment within the timeline.
Right. And you can, I was told, we didn't do it. We started from episode 1 and down, but we were told you can watch it in different order. Like you could start it from the last
Because it
episode.
doesn't, if you watch it in order, it's not in order. Like
Right.
the first one was 6 months before, what do they call it? The big event?
Yes.
Or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And then 6
Yeah.
months after the heist and 6 weeks before the heist.
7 days before.
Yeah, so
the night before.
You can watch it in
Yeah.
any order. If you
It's kinda
do,
cool.
let us know how you liked it. We watched it from start, and we're gonna watch it to finish. So we're almost done.
But it's not in order that way.
No, I think we're on the last episode. So
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was really good. So if you like something like that, it's right up your alley. So it was good. And plus the guy from Breaking Bad in it, the guy that owned the
chicken shop.
chicken shops, yeah, is in it. I like him a lot. I can't remember his name. Plus he played in The Mandalorian too, and he's fucking awesome. So I really like him as an actor. He's just great. So, but yeah, 2 good shows we're watching right now, and life is good. Just getting ready to start a new grow here, probably in February, another couple weeks, and gonna start another new grow. Took a month off, and just it's always good just to sometimes just take a month off. And plus, I've been getting a lot of good herb from our friend Big
Friends.
Earl. Yeah. So I mean, I got a lot of between my last grow and the last couple grows and the stuff we've been getting from Big Earl, and also from Sam too. Gave us a couple jars of stuff too. So
We made edibles.
yeah,
We
I
have
mean,
more butter.
We got a
gotta
lot.
make
We
more
got a lot.
edibles.
I got to make another batch of butter.
Yeah. And you can only eat so much.
Yes,
We
I
don't
mean-
microdose. We,
Right.
we just smoke in the evenings.
Right. And
consume.
we do also give a lot away.
We do.
So I mean, and we
Gift
still
here and
have a
gift
shit
there.
ton of weed.
Yeah. Crazy.
Your new Eddies you made, the Cushmallows, though.
I have such a hard time regulating my recipes.
But they're so good.
They're delicious. Flavor is not an issue. It's I just can't get my consistency to be quite right.
We'll get there. It was the first time you made them.
My
It was a
candy
new. It was
crystallizes.
It was
a
a
little
new.
bit.
It was an. It's not your. It's more the caramel.
It's more of like a fudge texture than a chewy caramel texture.
Not the cushy
It's
rolls are
frustrating.
more fudgy. The Cushmallows though.
Yeah.
Smushmallows. The Cushmallows are very very
Those are good.
creamy and rich and delicious. So
like a little pillow.
I kind of like the new texture of the cushy roll though, because it's more like a fudge. I kind of like it, but it used to be more like a consistency of a Tootsie Roll.
Right. That's why we called them cushy rolls.
Right, but I still like them. I still like them both ways. But the new Cushmallow recipe though,
Yeah.
mwah, mwah, mwah.
And that just made, now that we're talking about the differences, I intended to like sit down because I'm always just kind of formulating. I compile a couple of different recipes and look at the differences and see what I can swap out here and there. And so that's probably my problem because I'm not scientific enough to know why I should or shouldn't be adding more or less of something.
Just stick to the recipe.
I should just stick to the recipe. But it made me think of something I could do to the recipe that I think might work.
Text it to yourself while I read this article.
Okay.
You ready to start the show?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. 5 things to know about your endocannabinoid system. Now, we've talked about the endocannabinoid system many times on this show, many articles, much research has gone into it, not only just on the scientists and people who write articles, but also between Mrs. Weedman and myself and the early episodes too with Dov Boy, Paulie, and Shoddy and T. We've been talking about the endocannabinoid system for years now. And but as more research comes around and more reminders on what it does and what you could do to get it working if it's not, here's more research. So here's 5 things to know. So far, preliminary studies have shown that this system plays a significant role in maintaining health and well-being. So little is known about the largest receptor system in the human body, which is the endocannabinoid system. Most sources indicate that the ECS was discovered barely 3 decades ago in 1988. Crazy. Since the scientists from around the world have made discoveries about the dynamic system and the significance in health and disease, the number of published studies and articles of the ECS have spiked significantly in the last decade, spurring a growing and public interest in the subject. There are even suggestions that a seemingly abstruse system could indeed be the most important system in the human body, given its large influence. Robert Mitchellum, who's considered the founding father of medical cannabis, had this to say about it. 2 eminent scientists said that the endocannabinoid system involved in essentially all human disease. This is a very strong statement, but it seems to be correct. And we'll post this. So there's a chart about it and stuff like that. So that's what Robert Mitchellum put this chart together and what he says about it. So it'll be posted on our when we post the episode, so you can read about it. The ECS is made up of 3 primary components. From what science has revealed so far, the ECS is made up of 3 components that are spread throughout the central and peripheral nervous system: endocannabinoids, ligands, endocannabinoid receptors, and endocannabinoid enzymes, synthesizing and degrading. The endocannabinoids are synthesized by enzymes in the system and interact with endocannabinoid receptors to produce certain effects in the body. Once they have finished their role, they are degraded and removed from the system. The ECS has been described as a lipid signaling system. The ECS has 2 types of receptors, CB1, CB2. CB1 receptors are abundant in the central nervous system. System 2, CB2 receptors are abundant in the immune system. Both very important to your body. The primary endocannabinoids that have been identified and anandamide, Bliss molecule, and 2-AG, and anandamide is degraded by the enzyme FAAH, with 2-AG is degraded by MAGL. So that's just a reference of all of it again. The ECS is present in both vertebrates and invertebrates. Earlier on, it was believed that the ECS was only present in animals that have a backbone, aka mammals. It has now emerged that invertebrates such as leeches and mollusks, it's, however, more pervasive in mammals. The ECS maintains homeostasis in the body. The ECS is a regulatory system and involved in various important functions in the body. The primary role of the ECS is to maintain a state of homeostasis, or physiological balance in the body. Terms such as endocannabinoid, tone have emerged and are used to describe the overall state of the ECS terms of the density and function levels of its components. When the ECS seems sense an imbalance, it triggers a cascade of events along signaling pathways to restore balance. For example, when the body temperature is too high, the ECS will trigger mechanisms to ensure that the temperature is restored to normal parameters. The ECS is involved in regulating the following functions: pain, sleep, hunger, metabolism, hormonal function, reproduction, memory, nausea, vomiting, immunity, and moods. That's a lot. The ECS has an extensive network of receptors that are spread out in almost every part of the body. ECS receptors are highly concentrated on the skin, which is the largest organ in the body. The wide network of receptor support the far-reaching effects of the ECS. Clinical endocannabinoid deficiency may trigger chronic disease. The body may, in some cases, have a deficiency of endocannabinoid system. The state, which is described as clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome, CECD, has been linked to some chronic conditions. One study that investigated the concept of CECD found that it could be an underlying trigger for chronic and treatment-resistant conditions, including migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, and fibromyalgia. We know what cannabis helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
The research further suggested that this could be possibly explain how cannabis provides benefits of these conditions. Phytocannabinoids in cannabis interact with ECS. The cannabis plant has hundreds of bioactive molecules, mostly made up of phytocannabinoids, terpenes. Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabinol CBD are the two most investigated phytocannabinoids. Scientists have discovered that phytocannabinoids are able to mimic the actions of endocannabinoids that are produced naturally in the body. Hence, they are able to support the role of the ECS maintaining homeostasis. This forms the basis of medical cannabis. THC primarily binds to CB1 receptors in the brain. Alongside providing therapeutic benefits, THC also causes psychoactive effects. We all know that, which is induces euphoria, which I'm kind of feeling right now. CBD interacts indirectly with both the CB1 and CB2 receptors. Because it does not bind with the CB1 receptor, it does not cause psychoactive effects. The ECS forms the basis for medical cannabis. Medical cannabis has gained significant traction in the last decade due to discoveries in science about the role of ECS and how cannabis can influence the system. To date, 37 states, we already know, have legalized cannabis. Here are some of the conditions that have been approved for medical cannabis treatments in the U.S. Cancer, neuropathic pain, multiple sclerosis, HIV, AIDS, diabetes, multiple sclerosis. That came up twice. Epilepsy, Crohn's, Alzheimer's, joint degeneration, nausea and vomiting and terminal illness, anxiety, depression, sleep disorder, mood disorders. Medicinal cannabis may also be used for therapy to improve the efficiency of other drugs. For example, patients who are on opioids for pain management can use medical cannabis to reduce the amount of opioids that they are taking. They also have a positive impact on opioid-related side effects. The ECS is still being studied, and there's still a lot remains known about the system. So far, preliminary studies have shown that the system plays a significant role in maintaining health and well-being. It is also clear that phytocannabinoids from cannabis have far-reaching effects on the ECS, which forms the basis of medical cannabis. Phew! I need some water after that one, boy. More about the endocannabinoid system. As we learn more, we will always research and bring out some new information. A lot of it was repetitive from what we've talked about in the past. Always good to learn more, though. Good article. So now, the most important people in the world are moms. Moms are important.
Yeah, we are.
So important. You want to know why?
Why?
Because you raised the children of the world to be who they are today. Dads help, don't get me wrong. But moms are the reason we're alive.
That's right. We birthed you bitches.
We birthed us. Birthed us. Birthed us all. So,
yep.
Weed moms are you're a weed mom.
I'm a weed mom.
Yeah, you're a weed mom. Are changing the narrative around cannabis. Move over wine, moms. Here comes Cannabis Moms.
Weed. Well, it's a typical Instagram reel. Overwhelming kids, noise. It's been a long day. A mom locks herself in the bathroom. This mom has given everything. Her kids have worn her down. But instead of sneaking a bottle of Chardonnay out of the linen closet, this frazzled mom lights up a bong. Melissa Ludwig, an influencer and mom of 2 in Pennsylvania, is open about her struggle with alcohol, her ADHD diagnosis, and how cannabis is helping. Battling residual pain after a car crash, she hasn't used narcotics or alcohol.
Yay.
Instead, she has turned to medical marijuana to ease her pain and anxiety. Alcohol makes me a shitty-ass human, she says. Cannabis makes me a better, more controlled, centered, and less pain-riddled me.
I agree with that 100%.
Ludwig is part of a growing group of men and women who are choosing cannabis over alcohol to ease the stress and anxiety of parenting. Some mothers, like Ludwig, avoid alcohol entirely, while others find they don't need their nightly hard seltzer or four if they reach for an edible instead. On TikTok and Instagram, hashtags like hashtag Hi Mom, hashtag canna-Mom, and hashtag pot smoking mom have upwards of 8 million combined views. In the same vein, hashtag sober mom has well over 200 million views.
Damn.
Yeah. These social media trends make sense, given data showing that legal marijuana sales increased to 46% in 2020 and have continued to rise since. And it's parents in particular who seem to be leading the way in a recent Harris poll that found over the pandemic of parents who already tried marijuana, 52% increased their consumption compared to 33% of child-free adults. And 57% of parents who have ever consumed cannabis reported that their use of marijuana replaced or reduced their alcohol consumption. As cannabis use rises among moms, so does its acceptability in mainstream culture. With the dawn of a new year and many dry January resolutions, will 2023 be the year that weed moms become the new wine mom? Ludwig and her legions of fellow canna-Moms think so, and they're pushing back against the wine mom culture trend that the pandemic kicked into turbocharged overdrive.
You should have like a cannabis party, like just like invite some of your friends over and just have like a little like get together and smoke. Come down to the studio and just light up.
Yep. In Weed Mom, the Canna-Curious Woman's Guide to Healthier Relaxation, Happier Parenting, and Chilling the Fuck Out, author Danielle Simone Brand aims to destigmatize cannabis use for mothers. We canna-Mom advocates compare weed moms and wine moms all the time to make a point about the hypocrisy of it all. Alcohol use, which is associated with greater negative health outcomes, is funny, fun, and totally socially acceptable, while cannabis isn't. Her book works to not only destigmatize, but to demystify cannabis culture and cannabis itself. She says, just like there are different notes and aromas to wine, various strains of cannabis possess different terpenes, the chemical components present in many plants, and the essential oils derived from them. As with wine, terpenes can change the product's flavor, and with weed, its effects. There are different strains and different methods of consumption. This can be a little overwhelming for a new weed mom, particularly those who have been told their whole life that cannabis is dangerous and taboo. So much of the stigmatization of cannabis stems from the war on drugs. While 37 individual states have legalized marijuana either recreationally or medically, the heavy federal classification remains on the books. The truth is, though, that many medical professionals don't think cannabis research supports this classification. Concerned this restrictive label is preventing important research on the health benefits of cannabis, they are pushing back. Among those professionals countering the stigma is Dr. Lynn Parodnik. As a medical advisor for female-founded cannabis retailer Tribe Tokes, as well as being a private medical marijuana doctor in the New York City metro area, she says this classification is misleading. Alcohol and THC are both euphoriants. Alcohol can lead to addiction and injure organ systems. It is linked to obesity, liver toxicity, and is used to numb the individual. Alcohol toxicity leads to ER visits and hospitalizations. She notes that while people can become dependent on THC, it is not physically addictive in the way that alcohol and opiates are. Cannabis is now being used as an exit strategy for opioids and alcohol. What exactly does an exit strategy look like? For many moms, cannabis provides the unwinding they crave without the often disastrous side effects that alcohol misuse causes. Not every weed mom experiences the same rise in acceptance that Caucasian moms have seen, though. Jamila Lemieux is a writer and cultural critic. She's also a black single mom who uses cannabis regularly, and she knows her weed usage is just one more area where she will be judged more harshly than her white counterparts. Lemieux sees freedom among white moms to talk about their cannabis usage without much fear of backlash. It's not the same for most black moms. It's incredibly important that we don't allow the mainstream dialogue about marijuana to focus on the happy and free white women and men who get to get high while black people continue to suffer consequences, she says. It's critical that we continue to talk about the legal barriers and cultural attitudes that are used to prevent black people from consuming as they see fit, as well as how our experiences with marijuana prohibition have helped to power a system of mass incarceration. There are advocacy groups such as Canna-Clusive with a goal of making cannabis a safe and accepted choice for all folks, regardless of race or background. And ultimately, while the psychological and physical long-term effects of cannabis on the body are still being studied, it's clear the associated risks for adults are much lower than with alcohol or any other drug. Excessive alcohol use kills more than 140,000 people per year and leaves many more addicted, while no death from cannabis has been reported.
None.
The sleep benefits of some strains of cannabis, when compared to highly addictive nature... when compared to the highly addictive nature of sleep medications like benzodiazepines, also have some doctors and patients viewing cannabis as a safer alternative for insomnia. The risks, according to women who use cannabis and medical professionals who support it, are so much less significant with the other controlled substances. Will we reach a point where society views weed moms in the same light as wine moms? Yes and no. The canna-Moms believe that eventually cannabis will be viewed as a healthier and less harmful option. They picture an Instagram grid filled with beautiful edibles rather than generous pours of Chardonnay. At the end of a long parenting day, I think weed is going to not only have its moment in the sun again, says Lemieux, but that future generations will experience it in the way that we do alcohol. Widely available, legal, and socially acceptable.
100%. Stomp that fucking stigma. But I do like this quote in here. I don't necessarily smoke to get high. I smoke to get normal.
Mm-hmm. You like that?
I fucking love it. So instead of saying I want to get high, just say you want to get normal.
Let's get normal.
Let's get normal. That's awesome.
That is good.
The cannabis community sees the world differently. I had to look some words up. This article is very strange. It's a good article, but umwelt. You ever hear that word?
No.
Umwelt.
No.
UMWELT. The concept of umwelt, meaning an animal's perceived world, increases respect for both objective and supportive perspectives. The cannabis community and the scientific community view cannabis very differently. Non-medical cannabis use focuses on subjective experiences, while scientists focus on objective data. This is the writer. In his recent book, Marijuana on My Mind, The Science and Mystique of Cannabis, he looked behind the objective facts about cannabis and the interactions with the brain discovered by science. He contrasted this objective perspective with the equally important subjective experience of using cannabis, especially recreationally and socially. Cannabis users directly sense a profound shift in the texture of their experience. I am indebted to Michael Pollan for the exquisite phrase, which he coined the botany of desire, to encompass a range of mystical-like alterations in consciousness many cannabis users enjoy. In addition to slowing of time, physical and emotional relaxation, a general sense of wonder, awe, and numbness, coincidentness to one's surroundings. Cannabis also refreshes and intensifies many sensory experiences, including sound, especially music, taste, color, physical movement, flow. A minimum cannabis increased appreciation for these sensory experiences. Yeah, we always say your senses, especially your ears, heighten when you're stoned.
Oh, and the other night, certain lights were looking
everything
too
gets
bright.
crisp.
I'm like, why are there extra
And
lights
bright.
on outside? Did you change the light bulbs?
So you're due. I've said this for a long time. Your senses get heightened.
Yeah.
But also
I
you
feel like a
slow.
dog.
You know
I
what I
can
like
hear
about it
things so
though?
far away.
It slows me down comfortably. Like I'm not so like anxious.
Mm-hmm.
It slows my whole body. It gives me a nice flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm walking, I'm more of like in tune to like feeling the earth. So I mean, I love being normal, I guess.
Yeah.
This all happens without there being any measurable increases with the acuity and sensitivity of our hearing, taste buds, vision, touch, and proprioception. The change is internal, the results of altered brain functions and therefore altered mental experiences and bodily reactions to stimuli. People, figuratively, see the world with different eyes. This is enjoyable for most people, but not all. The difference between people's reactions to cannabis is due to the diversity that exists in the human brains and psychologies. This author believes one of the most important alterations in brain functions produced by THC involves what's called dishabituation. I got it. When we see, hear, or feel anything enough times, we begin noticing it less and less. We habituate to it. We no longer feel the ring on our finger or notice the small rainbow on every bubble in soap suds. Man, I don't know about that. THC reverses the process of habituation. It lowers the bar for the brain area, the amygdala, responsible for comparing current stimuli in those in the recent past. When there is little or no change, the amygdala remains quiet. But when a change occurs, the amygdala adds a zing to the new sensation, bringing sounds and sights that we had habituated to back into our awareness. So you the other night had the amygdala.
Abdullah Ablagada?
No, it's not Abdullah. It's amygdala.
Amlagada?
Amygdala.
Wow.
I did look it up, and I did try to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And I did in my head about 30 times. Because I never. So it's just like the inner workings of your brain, neuros and stuff. The added zing draws our attention to change. Dishabituating refreshes our perception of the world, similar to how meditation helps us smell the roses again. Marcel Proust, who is well known for sampling many drugs throughout his life, summed all this up in a famous quote. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but having new eyes. He imagines that this is being expressed by aficionados of fine herb when they call it trippy, as we sense euphoric. A single word from the concept Welt applies to sensations of the world perceived by the animal species. The world was coined in 1909 by German biologist Jacob von Uexküll. He introduced the concept to explain how different animals in same environment perceive and react to different signals. While the environment is the same for everyone, different sensory systems and different central nervous systems result in animals perceiving the world differently. THC alters brain function and creates a different Welt when high or normal. Therefore, the scientific perspective of cannabis and the cannabis culture's subjective perspective on cannabis necessarily differ. A more spiritual narrative describes the cannabis Welt better than it would describe the scientific Welt. Both perspectives are valuable if you wanted to understand cannabis, and both perspectives must be respected in each other to be understood. There are two sides of cannabis coin. Cannabis users alternate between the Welten, one when they are straight and one when high. A problem exists when people go too completely. I'm stoned. Too completely to the cannabis Welt. Plus, this guy's words, man, are crazy. At that point, they have lost perspective, lost respect for the objective Welt, and too often lose their way in the practical world. A healthy relationship with cannabis requires a balance between objectivity and subjectivity. That's the end.
That's it.
That's it. But it was a good article.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think. And a lot of stuff we've talked about. I've always talked about how cannabis heightens your senses and makes you normal. It makes you feel better. It makes you think clearly. It makes you feel clear. It makes your body feel better. Because why? There's angels in those leaves. But anyway, but it is a healing plant. It is a stimulant plant. It is a plant that is great for what I just read about, your endocannabinoid system. So it all ties with one another. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why this plant is on this planet. So let's talk about CBD. We've talked about this before a little bit, on drug testing with THC. And here's some more info if you're worried about CBD showing up on a drug test.
Yep.
Go, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep. And just a little preface to the article for people that are interested in CBD products. I mean, CBD is the gateway to THC, right? People are comfortable with it because you can find it in your drugstore and you can find it in your gas station and you can find it in your Walgreens, and it's just everywhere, and it doesn't make you feel different and blah, 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 right? So everyone's taking CBD, but what a lot of people just aren't realizing is that there is zero regulation on CBD. And so without being particular about where you get your product, like a full spectrum CBD product from a dispensary or a highly recognized and third-party tested CBD from a health food store, a reliable health food store with reliable products that they, research and quantify as being good for their customers. Not your shit at Walgreens, not the crap at a gas station. Right?
Especially not the shit at the gas station.
So anyway, that's my little get on the soapbox about CBD. Get the good stuff. It's worth it. Okay. So will it show up on a drug test, right? Well, there's the CBD plant, right? That is hemp. And there's the THC or the cannabis plant, right? So there's cannabis, there's hemp, there's CBD, there's THC, right? So there is a chance that CBD, if you're a CBD consumer, you could show up with a trace amount of THC in your test, okay? So here's everything that you need to understand about how CBD could impact a drug test and what you should be doing to be on the safe side. This is making us both be blah, 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 stuttering on our words, right?
It's a little heady.
Yeah. Since hemp was legalized in 2018, increasingly more Americans have been turning to hemp-derived cannabidiol, or CBD, to improve their general health and wellness. Recent statistics reveal that 1 in 3 Americans have tried a CBD product, with a majority of users between ages 18 and 29. However, the close relationship between CBD, which is federally legal, and THC, which is not, poses a challenge to CBD users in the workspace, leading to the question, will CBD show up on a drug test? Most workplaces, including major sports leagues, have strict anti-drug policies and subject employees to drug testing. Failing a drug test can have a dire consequence, such as being put on probation or even losing a job opportunity or career. It is therefore not surprising that many people are concerned about CBD showing up on a drug test. The truth is that it is very unlikely that it would show up and cause you to fail a test. CBD is chemically different from the psychoactive cannabinoid THC, which is usually screened for in most tests. Therefore, having CBD in your system should not be a cause of concern unless your CBD product has some THC in it. That's where the challenge lies. Even negligible amounts of THC can be picked up by some tests. The quality of most of the CBD products in the market leaves much to be desired. Some CBD products are made from cannabis and contain high amounts of THC. While a third-party quality test could pick this up, some CBD products are not subjected to independent testing, while some have product labels that are misleading. It's easy to be deceived into believing that a CBD product has 0 THC, while in actual sense it has significant amounts. False positives for THC may also arise in drug testing, and this happens when a test falsely indicates the presence of THC. Cannabis drug tests use biological samples such as saliva, urine, blood, or hair to test for the presence of THC in the body, and the most common drug test is a 5-panel test that looks for the presence of active metabolites from PCP, cocaine, marijuana, opiates, and amphetamines. The 9-panel test screens additional drugs, including barbiturates and benzodiazepines. Urine is the most frequently used biological sample for drug tests. However, simpler tests that use oral fluids have now become commonplace. They are non-intrusive, easy to use, and give instant results. Most marijuana tests have a cutoff level of 50 nanograms per milliliter. This means that a test will turn out positive if the THC levels exceed that amount. However, some will even detect as little as 15 nanograms. What's the difference between drug screening and drug tests? The two terms are often used interchangeably, but they actually mean different things. Drug screening involves quick and efficient testing that produces instant results. They confirm the presence of a drug. It's either present in a sample or it's absent. They are also relatively affordable, but may not be as accurate. Therefore, they are mostly used to confirm the presence of a drug, but are usually followed up with a drug test when the screening test is positive. When the screening result is positive. Drug tests are more accurate than drug screens. They also require a longer waiting time, as the sample is sent to the lab for specific testing that gives detailed information. Drug testing is often used to confirm the result of a drug screen. The drug tests screen for the presence of THC. CBD should not show up on a drug test. Most CBD products contain little amounts of THC. Legal hemp derived from CBD should not exceed 0.3% THC. However, some drug tests are very sensitive and will pick up those trace amounts. In such a case, it may be necessary to carry out the specific drug test that will show exactly how much is in one's system. A false positive result is recorded when a test picks up THC erroneously. Getting a false positive result after consuming a CBD product can be quite scary. However, you need not worry if that happens to you. If you are sure that you haven't consumed a cannabis product but still turn a positive drug test, it is your right to repeat or request a repeat test. There are a few more reasons why you might get a false positive resulting after consuming CBD. You may have consumed a CBD supplement that had too high of an amount of THC. Certain drugs can give false positive results for marijuana. They include NSAID or NSAIDs, efavirenz, pantoprazole, and dronabinol. Maybe you consumed a CBD product that is contaminated with THC, so you didn't even know that THC would be a potential thing. The labeling wasn't correct. Maybe you inhaled secondhand smoke in an enclosed space. False positive results don't surface very frequently. They only occur in about 5 to 10% of cases. And here are things that you can do to avoid false positives. Reputable vendors will subject their products to third-party testing. The certificate of analysis from the independent testing should be shown with the exact concentration of THC and CBD in a product. You should not purchase CBD products that exceed 0.3% or those that lack third-party testing results. You can avoid taking medications prior to a drug test and talk to your pharmacist to make sure that you can eliminate your drug because some of those drugs could trigger a false positive. And CBD products come in 3 forms. There's isolate, broad spectrum, and full spectrum. CBD isolate contains pure CBD with 0 THC. This is the most ideal form of CBD to ingest when you're about to take a drug test. Broad spectrum CBD does not contain THC, but it may contain THCA, which converts to THC when it's exposed to heat. And full spectrum CBD contains small amounts of THC. If you consume full spectrum CBD regularly and have a slow metabolism, you could turn in a false positive result for weed. But again, the chance of this happening is very slim. So,
thank you for going over isolate, broad spectrum, and full spectrum, because I don't think a lot of people know that. And we might have talked about it, but not in depth like that. That helped me out a lot, because I always still get confused with the 3. So thanks for the reminder.
Sure.
Great article. First cannabis bill of new Congress is GOP-led gun rights measure. Republican House lawmakers have filed the first piece of cannabis reform legislation for the 118th Congress, proposed to allow medical cannabis patients to purchase and possess firearms. Sweet. Only because I'm in Illinois and I can't, with my med card, they won't allow me to purchase a gun. So if people want to buy a gun and they have a cannabis medical card, they can't get it.
So you can have concealed carry, but then you can't buy a gun.
You can't buy a gun at all. So it's weird. If you already have them, if you have your FOID card, you can get your FOID card, and you already have guns, that's fine. But you get denied when you go to buy a new gun. If anybody knows how to get away with it here in Illinois, let me know. Air Force accepted dozens of new recruits who tested positive for THC under new program. Sweet. U.S. Virgin Islands governor signs cannabis legalization expungement bills and issues cannabis pardon proclamation. Good for U.S. Virgin Islands. Michigan smashes cannabis sales record at $2.3 billion in 2022.
Wow.
Crazy. And the prices there are dirt cheap right now. I mean, I've seen ounces going for $70 in Michigan. Crazy. So only California, which is on a pace to eclipse $5 billion in sales for 2022. So, I mean, and I know a lot of people complain about the Michigan market, but you still made $2.2 billion. And your biggest month of the year was September. Wow, really? That's weird. Maybe because all the college kids went back to school.
Back to school.
That's the only thing I can think about why it spiked, because that's actually a slow month for like all sales in general, you know. Usually July and December.
September's back to school.
Oh, wait, December, I missed it. $221 million. December across the board, I think in a lot of markets we're like crushed it. So that September was the second biggest month, which is still weird to me. So, but good for you, Michigan. You killed it. I mean, just unreal. $2.2 billion. A lot of out-of-state sales on that, too, because you're surrounded by states that aren't legal. And I know a lot of people from this state go over there, too, because they don't want to pay the dirt fucking taxes Illinois charges. New York City has more than 1,200 unlicensed weed stores and only one legal right now. One.
Wow.
And another one about to open. So they'll have two versus 1,200. Crazy. And I know the cops are shutting them down like crazy right now, but they just keep on popping up. So, Minnesota, cannabis legalization bill clears second House committee. Good for you, Minnesota. Let's go. Mon County delegate introduces bill to legalize cannabis in West Virginia. Take me home, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home. They grow great weed up in the mountains, though, just like Kentucky. Great weed comes from the mountains up there. So go get it, West Virginia. Let's do it. Wiz Khalifa, who I really like as a hip-hop artist, urges people to smoke cannabis at Pennsylvania governor's inauguration party, even though it's not legal there. The governor of Pennsylvania is trying to get it to go rec, so, I mean, I think it'd be kind of funny. They all just dropped some fucking big fat doinks. Anti-anxiety, depression, all that stuff, you know, that we're learning more and more that cannabis helps, you know. Tell us about the cannabinoids and how they're fighting to help depression, Mrs. Weedman. No, that's not you?
No.
What is you then?
I have how cannabis oil is helping stroke patients.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the article. I just read the caption.
Blah,
Sorry.
blah.
You've ruined my intro. What's wrong with you?
Well, here's what the latest medical studies have revealed.
So this is cannabis oil for stroke patients and what the latest medical studies reveal.
That's it.
That's
it, Mr. Weedman.
I know.
We're on the same page.
I was on the same page.
Yay. Oh, I cut that part out because it just didn't make sense.
I got you.
Okay. All right. Strokes are one of the leading causes of death globally. There are 3 types of strokes. Ischemic,
a bottle of ink, cough a lot, and you stink, not because you're dirty, not because you're clean.
Ischemic. Okay, let me get back on track. There are 3 types of strokes. Ischemic, hemorrhagic, and transient ischemic. That sounds like a goofy word.
I didn't know there was 3 of them.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I just thought it was a stroke.
Ischemic strokes are the most common. Stroke survivors are also at risk of suffering long-term disability through the prognosis though the prognosis and outlook greatly depends on several factors. Some of the factors that affect the outlook of stroke survivors include the patient's age, kind of stroke, treatment, and one's overall health. Most stroke survivors need to be confined in the hospital for proper rehabilitation and to improve prognosis. And it's also common for many to require occupational, speech, and physical therapy for some time. Cannabinoids can also help They can also help to help. Cannabinoids can also help to reduce inflammation in the body to improve healing. Now, studies show that cannabis may be beneficial for stroke survivors. Patients can benefit from the anti-anxiety properties of cannabinoids as well as their ability to fight depression. After all, stroke survivors are prone to suffering from mental health disorders, especially depression given the disabilities many of them have to live with. However, many doubt the safety of cannabis products among stroke survivors. But a recent study out of Italy revealed that daily consumption of Sativex, pharmaceutical name nabiximols, a proprietary spray containing THC and CBD, doesn't result in cardiovascular problems among stroke survivors. Italian researchers analyzed the safety of Sativex among 34 stroke survivors. No patients showed significant acceleration or decrease in heart rate or change in rhythm, and none required an additional ECG or cardiological evaluation during the study. This data supports the cardiovascular safety of using nabiximols, they concluded. Meanwhile, another 2022 study revealed that cannabidiol, CBD, is beneficial as post-stroke treatment. There are many ways CBD can be utilized by stroke survivors to improve their prognosis and quality of life. It helps stroke patients in numerous ways, including antioxidant properties. Cannabidiol has well-known antioxidant benefits, which come in handy for helping the body get rid of poisonous cells while reducing cellular oxidation. And in fact, laboratory studies which date back as far as 1998 show that CBD contains higher antioxidant levels than vitamin C and E.
Wow.
This makes CBD an excellent supplement for improving overall cardiovascular health for stroke survivors. Since oxidative damage is the hallmark feature of stroke patients, supplementing with CBD can help reduce the damage it causes. The human body relies on antioxidants to help stabilize the free radical levels within the body, thus preventing them from causing further damage. Anti-inflammatory benefits. Another reason. Several studies point toward the anti-inflammatory properties of CBD. When the body has too many inflammatory cells, it greatly increases the risk of stroke occurring. In addition, inflammation lingers in the area where blood clots form in a person who has suffered a stroke. Studies show that CBD is a powerful anti-inflammatory, and it also helps to reduce oxidative stress. Another one, it reduces high blood pressure. Anyone who has chronic high blood pressure will have an increased risk of stroke. This is why doctors always treat blood pressure to prevent the risk for stroke. In addition, stroke survivors who have high blood pressure can suffer from another stroke when this isn't treated. Studies show that just 600 milligrams of CBD can help decrease resting blood pressure.
That's a lot.
I didn't know that.
But that's a lot.
Yeah, it's
600
a lot.
milligrams is a lot. We
But
take
CBD.
I get it. It's
Right.
still a lot. I mean, if it helps, great. I just didn't really. I mean, I've always known that you had to take a good amount of CBD to feel the effect. If you're just taking straight CBD without
Right.
the THC to give it the kickstart, that's like I've heard like
You need a
50
lot.
to 100 milligrams is like the dose you should be taking, like even more. Because it doesn't have any. It's more like a multivitamin,
Right.
you know, when you take it like that without the THC in it. So,
Another study shows that CBD may help reduce blood pressure because of its ability to widen blood vessels. Very cool. It protects brain cells. When a stroke occurs, this damages neurons. Without proper treatment, neurons can suffer from a lack of food and oxygen, which can cause damage and eventual neuron death. When this occurs, there's long-term damage to the nervous system. CBD has been proven useful for supporting neuron health as well as neuron metabolism. It will also improve blood flow to the brain. Poor blood flow to the brain causes ischemic, yep, that's it, strokes. This is why patients need to work on improving blood flow to their brain, preventing any more damage or the risk of another stroke. CBD can help with this because it has a terpene content. Several terpenes have been shown to improve cerebral blood flow, most especially borneol, eucalyptal, and caryophyllene oxide. CBD itself can help improve cerebral blood flow. Oh my gosh, I can't even get words out.
Shouldn't have took those 5 hits.
Yeah. Can help improve cerebral blood flow because it helps to modulate serotonin receptors, which assist in the brain's regulation of blood flow entering the brain. So if you have a loved one who has suffered from a stroke and would like to explore the benefits of CBD for recovery, be sure to talk to your doctor. There are many ways you can medicate with CBD, but it's most important to consume CBD in its most high quality and pure form to reduce the risk of any contamination. Talk to your physician to determine the best way to integrate CBD with traditional therapies.
Note to self, don't smoke this strain when we're reading scientific articles.
Yeah, because we can't get our words out. I want to get some full spectrum CBD. No, not full spectrum. What was the middle one?
The middle one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to get that because I want to try it during
you
the
want
day.
broad spectrum.
Broad spectrum.
Yeah, you want someone just a little hint of THC in it.
So that you could take it during the day.
Take a 20 to 1.
Yeah.
Edible. Or you want to do flower.
No, for during the day. Gummy or something.
There you go. International news. Rastafarians say they're being sidelined in the medical cannabis industry in Barbados. Come on, man. Rastafarians should be growing it and selling it to the dispensaries. I mean, they grow phenomenal weed. So take care of the Rastafarians, man. Let's go, Barbados. Is 2020 the year Spain's year for cannabis reform? It's likely a safe bet that 2023 was a significant year for cannabis reform efforts and the emerging cannabis industry, particularly in Europe. It's no secret that the legalization measures expected to be formally introduced in Germany in 2023, and when that happens, it will have a domino effect throughout most of the continent. But Spain's cannabis reform measures move on their own pace. We've been to Spain. People move there slow. There's no fast pace in Spain, which is not a bad thing at all. They just move nice.
Slow
it's just nice.
pace.
I'm not talking about the tourists that come in. I'm talking about people that live there. It's just a very nice, easy life. I mean, they work hard, they do their things, but it's just they don't move. Like it looks like there's no stress.
Unless you run into our tour guide.
Yeah,
she got mad.
Yeah,
at the garbage man.
She was gonna beat his ass.
He wasn't moving fast enough.
No, not at all. As discussed in Cannabis Now, Spain tends to move at its own pace when it comes to cannabis policy reform. This is due to its enthusiasm gap among cannabis supporters for reform efforts with the country. Spain and cannabis is easy to acquire in many parts of the country. There are tons of options to choose from. There's also cannabis clubs that we've talked about before about Spain. So the status quo leaves a lot of patients on the outside looking in, creating a breeding ground for selective enforcement. So it looks like, let's see here. The stated goals of the official Spain to move medical cannabis patients away from the unregulated market and instead provide them with the ability to acquire their medicine from regulated industry. Purchasing medical cannabis from regulated sources provides several benefits that aren't present in the unregulated market, not at the least in which is the elimination of potential criminal penalties for participating in the transaction. So we'll see. Right now, Spain is now beautiful and flawed for the nation's industry to reach its full potential, for all suffering patients to get safe access to much-needed tested medicine. And for Spain to take its rightful spot as an international leader, a strong system must be put into place. Hopefully 2023 proves to be their year. Come on, Spain. I want to go back and go to that market and get some good food and smoke a big fat doink. Here's something crazy. In Canada, drug dealers still control 33% of the cannabis market, despite legalization. I'll tell you one reason why. High taxes. The traditional market will always win because you don't have to pay taxes. Lower your taxes down. Don't rape the cannabis market. Treat it like a regular commodity and charge what you're charging for your state's tax or your country's tax, and don't fucking charge 30, 40%. Ridiculous. I don't blame people who are going to the traditional market. When they can't afford $60, $70, $80 eighths and they can get an eighth for $30, they're going to go get an eighth for $30. Your taxes are ridiculous. So they're just going to keep on doing what they're doing. A folk rock legend who I've listened to tons of their songs, David Crosby dies at 81.
Yeah.
Crosby stills in Nash. Crosby stills Nash and Young. Solo stuff that he's done, but a big advocate for cannabis. So go ahead and tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, you just told everything. No, I'm just
No, I
joking.
didn't.
Celebrated songwriter with the Byrds, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and then, like Mr. Weedman said, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young passed away after a long illness. I don't know. I think it was cancer. I think it was prostate cancer.
I don't know.
Anyway, an iconic figure in the U.S. folk rock scene of the 60s and 70s, Crosby formed the Byrds before joining with Graham Nash and Stephen Stills in the seminal Crosby, Stills, and Nash in 1968. Key figures in the music scene of LA's Laurel Canyon with songs that would propel the trio's harmonies to the world's stages. The last few years had seen a creative resurgence for Crosby with recording and tour, documented on the 2019 Cameron Crowe produced documentary, Remember My Name. I didn't know. Is that out? 2019?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's out.
David was tireless when it came to touring and to promoting younger musicians. He was twice inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but there was Crosby's dark side too. His stormy and outright nasty relationships with bandmates, his personal excesses, his downward spirals with addiction to hard drugs, and his stint in a Texas prison.
Remember the video they did of him? Like when because of his drug addiction, they did the little mini movie about him. And so it was he was fucked
Pretty
up.
bad,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was in. They interviewed him in prison.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. It was fucked up. He was heavy.
He had a stint in Texas prison for drug and arm violations. Though in recent years, he was an outspoken advocate for cannabis. David Crosby was a genuine American original and an outspoken advocate for ending our nation's failed war on cannabis consumers. We were ecstatic to have him join NORML's advisory board in 2018 and have him lend his platform and voice to the ongoing fight for cannabis freedom after a lifetime of personal advocacy, stated NORML Executive Director Eric Altieri. He will be missed, but there is no question he leaves behind an indelible mark on the social and cultural landscape. Upon formally joining NORML's advisory board in 2018, Crosby himself stated, "I'd like cannabis to be legal everywhere. I know people who are in jail for years over a couple of joints, and it's just not right. I feel a responsibility to stick up for people who have been jailed for it unfairly, and that's why I'm partnering with NORML to lend my name and talents to help end our multi-decade failure that is prohibition. Bottom line is, it should be legal. It should be legal, and people shouldn't be going to jail for it. And I want to reinforce that to the degree that I can. Rest in power, David."
Man, great musician, fighter to stomp the stigma, free the plant. David Crosby, rest in peace. Remember the show Night Court?
Yeah.
You liked
yeah.
that show. You
That was a
talked
good
about
show.
it. Yeah, you liked it. They're doing a reboot,
Okay.
but also John Larroquette, who played the lawyer, did a movie long time ago. Remember the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah.
He narrated it,
Oh.
and he got paid in cannabis.
Ah. Really?
Yeah, yes, he got paid in cannabis.
That'd be a lot of cannabis.
Yeah, before he scored the Emmy Awards as the prosecutor in Night Court, John Larroquette was paid in pot for voiceover work on the classic horror movie. After years of internet speculation, Larroquette confirmed he hit a high note from what he assumed to be gig work for a friend in the 70s. Totally true, Larroquette told Parade when asked about the long-standing rumor director Toby Hooper compensated John with weed for narrating the prologue, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He gave me some cannabis or a matchbox or whatever you called it in those days. He said, I walked out of the recording studio and patted him on the back and said, backside and said, good luck to you. His relationship with Hooper went back to 1969 when he worked as a bartender in Colorado. John said he wasn't sure that what I want to do in my life, but he had struck up a friendship with the late director working on the project in town. A few years later, Larroquette was pursuing his own acting dreams when he met Hooper, looked him up. So Toby heard I was in town and for an hour of my time narrate something for his movie. He just did. He called. I said, fine. It was a favor. At the time, the thriller featuring mask-wearing cannibal named Leatherface, who preys on a group of hippies, was grossly low budget. Little did he know that the movie would become a horror classic and spawn an entire series of slasher films. He'd have a lot of cannabis now. He did something for free in the 70s and got a little money in the 90s, he said before adding, it's certainly the one credit that stuck strongly to my resume. I'm not a big horror movie fan. But however, I did take the cannabis, and the first episodes of the award-winning 1984 show ran until 1982. Larquette earned her consecutive Emmys, which is dope, and he's now 75, and not 35-year-old who started playing the character. I can't do the physically comedy I used to do, Larquette told USA Today, of his character's evolution. Hopefully, with the intellect, we found other ways for him to be funny, not just the clown he was in the 80s, but it's a new world. So, good for him. It's kind of funny because just think about how much money he'd have in his pocket and how much weed he'd have in his pocket today, because that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a franchise. Big. People love that movie. It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
The original and all the ones that came after it.
I couldn't watch that. It's so dark.
It's not that dark.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of like...
It's just Leatherface
wacky.
running around with a fucking chainsaw, chopping fucking people up and making chili out of them.
That's not dark.
No, it's fucking
I'm gonna
a B.
shine some light on you.
A B
you think
horror
that's not
movie.
dark? Well, yeah, because it's like, yeah.
That's the way I look
But it's
at
still
it.
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's freaky. A fucking guy walking around with people's
Just creepy.
with human fucking
Yeah,
skin
it's
on his
wacky.
face and called himself Leatherface, and his dad.
Okay, that's dark, Paul. Mr. Weedman.
I don't think it's dark. I think it's stupid funny, but also a little creepy and gross. So, Mrs. Weedman,
Yep.
that's the end of the show.
Eh.
Got anything else to say?
I'm gonna smoke some more.
Not that.
Why? No, we want to have
It's
something to
nighttime.
calm us down.
It's time for an edible and some
We'll
some
smoke
good some lava cake.
mellow.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
smoke some
that's-
lava cake
yeah, that's
that
great.
was grown by Big Earl. We like that
Yeah,
lava cake.
that's
But I posted a funny meme. Well, I thought it was funny. It was a polo, one of those the water game polo, water polo.
Oh, that was funny.
So he's sitting in a pool, and he's pouring water over his face.
It's a guy playing water polo
Right.
with the water polo hat on in the water.
With a bottle of water,
With the
pouring it
bottle of
over
water.
his face.
Yeah, like he's hot.
Yeah, and the
Cooling himself off.
memes, the caption said, when I smoke first, then take an edible. But we do that every night.
We do.
We take an
time
edible.
it, though. We
Yeah, but
time
we
it.
time it, and this is our thing we do. I mean, I don't know when we've not done this in the last
Mm-hmm.
few years, once we figured out like how our bodies work with cannabis and when it's gonna hit. So what we do, like around 9:30 at night,
Mm-hmm.
we pop an Eddie in, right? Well, it doesn't matter, Mrs. Weedman's homemade edibles. And then like we go to bed, we go up to bed about 10:30. That edible's just starting to kick in a little bit, but then we smoke. And then we're nice and high right before. I mean, we're smoking earlier than that too, but the bedtime routine is
We
like
don't go to bed at 10:30.
no, we go to bed at midnight.
We smoke at 10:30.
Yes, we smoke our last smoke at 10:30
Before bed.
right?
Yes.
And then we go up and we play
And
with
then by the
Yuki.
and then by the time
Midnight comes, that
the
edible
smoke wears off, the edible kicks in.
edible kicks in,
Nighty
and we're
night.
nighty night, full effects. We've been
pretty
doing
good.
that for a long time.
Dialed in.
Yeah, I mean, our last smoke of the night, we have pens by the bed too, you know,
Yeah.
if we want to hit the pen. But our last joint of the night, because we don't smoke flower in a joint or a bowl in our bedroom. It's just
no.
we just don't do that. So, but everywhere else in the house we do. So, but we have pens up there and shit like that. But our nightly routine is edible around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Smoke our joint before our last J before we go up around 10:30, 10:45, 11, depending on time, the way our time moves, and then all of a sudden everything's kicking in nicely, and we go to bed and we sleep great till about we wake up. So, so it's just our routine. But I thought it was a funny meme. So, all right, everybody out there, we love you. Thanks for everything. Thanks for sharing, being kind, being happy, having some fun, enjoying cannabis, stomping the stigma, freeing the plant. We appreciate y'all out there. And just follow us on 8decades.com. Check us out. Follow Mrs. Weedman on 8decades on our Instagram. All of our handles are 8decades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, go check out Mrs. Weedman. Check out our website. We love y'all out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.